Welcome to TWitWoW, the best wrestling podcast made for wrestling fans, by wrestling fans, on the web today. I'm John, that's my cohort and commentary Ashton, and this is our Lucha Underground review. And this was night one of Ultima Lucha 3. 2 matches, no cinematics, but holy fucking shit, this episode. You know, when I really look back on it, and we had very little time to look back on it because we got right into this, the first match, it had gravity to it, given that a man's contract was at stake, but given the players involved, it had a levity to it that I think was necessary, given what the main event was going to be. Hell of war between Dante Fox and Killshot. A match that very well may be on my match of the year contender list. I'm still kind of ruminating on that point, but holy fuck, what a main event for night one. I'm breathless. I know I'm speaking, but I feel breathless. Like, I really don't even know what to say. I feel like we just had an experience, not just a match, but an experience. What a cap off to an excellently written feud. Brother, what did you think of night one of Ultima Lucha Trace, man?
Do you really even need to ask me? I still have goosebumps from the end of that Hell of War match, and between these little recordings, I literally just said to my mom, was that the best wrestling match you've ever seen? And she said, yes, and I've been watching wrestling for 40 years.
Holy shit. Dude, you know, I gotta be honest. You know that I'm a diehard Lucha Underground fan. I sure as fuck know you are. I mean, that's why we are the premier Lucha Underground podcast on the web. But, you know, you were reading me the quotes about, like, the match reaction, and I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm really hyped, but I still want to temper my expectations just slightly because, you know, you never know, right? You never know. But, man, did these two guys go out and fucking kill it and earn that praise, man. This was nuts. And you know what? Like, it had those hardcore elements, but I never felt like it got nauseous. And I think the narrative is partially attributable to that, because I feel like everything that was done was believable, because it wasn't being hardcore for hardcore's sake. It was being hardcore because I hate this guy, and I literally want to take a pound of his flesh so he knows how I feel.
Well, yeah, and the beautiful thing about it, too, is that it's not just, I hate this guy because we're in a wrestling feud together, and he thinks he's better than me. No, like, when we all, you know, there's the old wrestling cliche, you know, I wanted to beat you before, but now you've gone down and made it personal. No, like, this was personal from the get-go, because these guys have, in the world of Lucha Underground, a legitimate history with each other and reason. Specifically, Dante Fox has reason to hate with all of his might Killshot.
Yes. Yes, these two were masterful.
What is worse in your eyes? A guy that tries to kill you, or a guy that doesn't care about someone else trying to kill you?
Oh my, yeah. It's such a poignant narrative. It invoked like a lot of emotion. And I will even say, without tipping the hand too much, because I know we're going to do a formal review here in a few moments, really of the entire night. The final moments of that Hell of War match were some of the most emotional I've seen since maybe, and it really depends on how emotional you got for this, I'm just grasping at straws here, the final moments between Shawn and Taker at WrestleMania 26. Like, I got a similar emotional feeling seeing these guys beating each other up and just how the match resolved itself. I'm like, my God, we just witnessed just a story come to its conclusion, and what a punctuation. Yeah, the more I talk about it, when I think about the narrative elements and everything else, this is a match of the year contender for me. I'm not shy about saying that. I thought this was fantastic, and Lucha Underground should be very proud of themselves for this match, as obviously the competitors should be as well, and Dante Fox and Killshot. This is incredible. Absolutely incredible.
Absolutely. Yeah, man, this was a really phenomenal show. I really, the match specific, like, I do want to give credit to Tejano and Famous B, and also Dr. Wagner Jr., because the match they had was solid. But when you have to be on the same show that this match was on, and we all knew that, like, this was the match that everyone showed up for, I kind of feel more bad for them than anything, because it's like no one is going to remember you, and it sucks. but that's the truth of the matter. Like, no one's going to remember the match that happened before Hell of War.
And you know what, though? To me, the only reason that's fine is because of the consequences of that first match. We'll have so much time to see those consequences play out in season 4 that they'll have plenty of time to make their own memories separate from that Hell of War match. So it might have been a little bump in the road because your match preceded that match, but they'll have a whole blank canvas to really make the most out of their match in the subsequent season. And really, it's funny because thinking of the subsequent season, I do have some things I want to ask you about that when we get to Hell of War. Because, man, I feel like there were a lot of reverberations that were going to be felt from this match going into that season. But with that said, do you just want to formally dive into this?
Absolutely.
Then let us get right into our Ultima Lucha 3 Night 1 review. And we open up no cinematic or anything, which... good for us, kind of ease us into those cinematics because they're going to be fucking crazy. And we do go into Tejano versus Famous B and Dr. Wagner Jr. because Famous B was able to talk to Dario and say, look, man, I am hurt. You got to do something for me. It's like, okay, we'll do a handicap match on multiple levels, which I love that. I love the wit of this show. And I'll give you a partner, and it's Dr. Wagner Jr., who, seeing him unmasked, he is one fine silver fox motherfucker. I will tell you that. And seeing him compete, I mean, he still competes at a great level. I thought him and Tejano had good chemistry here. I thought it was a solid opener. And again, why I like this, because I agree with you about almost feeling bad for the match and everything, but I feel like the match brought the levity necessary because then Lucha Underground saying, okay, you've had your laughs, now get ready to plunge into some emotional depths that you didn't even think you'd experience in the main event. What did you think about this opener?
I mean, the opener was good. It was entertaining. It was, it was fun, and it served its purpose. And I think the most exciting part about it was the finish, because we now have this narrative sort of tool that Lucha Underground is going to be able to use next season, with Tejano now belonging, quote unquote, to Famous B. Contract goes. So Famous B getting that, and of course beautiful Brenda being the cause for the distraction that allowed Famous B to get the distraction roll up with his feet on the ropes was just perfect, because they've been building to that for months now, with Tejano clearly not giving a single shit about Famous B, but being very infatuated with Brenda. And what ends up biting him in the ass again is his infatuation with Brenda, because of course.
Exactly. I thought that was so well done, because it was really one of the only believable ways I could have seen Famous B beating Tejano, either that or Dr. Wagner Jr. somehow, getting an offensive maneuver devastating enough to render a 3 count. But, I mean, you look at Tejano, and I love Dr. Wagner, but the age disparity and everything else, I'm like, that doesn't seem likely either. But, hey, a woman can kill. She lures a guy in enough, like Brenda did with Tejano, and then you just get the roll-up with the feet on the ropes. I mean, easy as pie right there. So Tejano now is under the management of Famous B. I love, too, speaking about the Famous B character, because, again, we both agreed we feel bad for these guys, and I know we're going to have a shit ton more to say about the main event, so just to give this a little bit of time. I love that the Famous B faction the whole Famous B gimmick with him, assembling this clientele, has just grown incrementally throughout the seasons. Like, they haven't tried rushing it, just getting an assortment of people being like, oh, I'll take a card. And you could really see that the clients are of quality. Like, even Masquerita, who was more of a joke client, could put on good matches and was more of an entertaining mini competitor than what you're probably used to. But then when he got kicked to the curb, you get a legend like Dr. Wagner, and now somebody that's more current, that's going to show up, more regularly in Tejano. So this whole thing that people might have been like, oh, well, Famous B is a jobber, it's going to be more of a joke thing, they've actually done really well with it. And I do think that the whole gimmick has an air of credibility to it now, especially after this win. So I think it definitely heightens my interest into what Famous B is capable of as a manager and what accomplishments he can achieve with his clients for next season.
I'm sorry, did you ask me a question there? I was kind of dazed.
No. Oh, no, I was just stating how I like how the credibility of Famous B's clientele and, the people he's getting has been slowly growing over the seasons.
Oh, yeah. I mean, when you think about, he started with Masquerita, and then, Wagner, and now he's got this, if you think about Tejano, the guy that was literally in contention for the gauntlet at one point. Yeah.
Exactly. So Famous B, like I said, well, really how I punctuated what I was saying was people could have looked at the start of this and said, oh, well, this is just going to be a joke thing because Famous B is a joke competitor, being this jobber. But it actually possesses an air of credibility now that I'm really curious what he's going to be able to do with his clients in season 4. So, yeah, I'm still into this storyline all this time later, and that's a testament to Lucha Underground's writing and Famous B's portrayal of the character. So, again, credit to everybody. But moving on from that, we know what we really want to talk about.
Yeah.
The main event.
Although, before we move on, I do want to give major props to Famous B for taking that ridiculous bump off the temple steps.
Yeah, that was sick. Like...
The thing is, like, when we talk about everything that happened in the next match, it seems kind of paltry by comparison, but it was still one hell of a bump, and I would not want to be the guy taking that, and he took one like a beast.
And I think that's another benefit of him being a more manager role and not necessarily the most active competitor, is that you can save your body up for bumps like that.
Oh, yeah, save up on that bump card, baby.
Exactly. That had to hurt like a motherfucker. God damn. But so yeah, that was that match, and now let's just talk about what we're really all here to talk about.
Hell of War.
Oh my god, brother. Normally a match that's really good can happen, and I can kind of tell whether I loved it more or you loved it more, and I usually defer to that person. But I feel like you and I are both in awe that I don't even really know who should start. But I think I'll let you have.
Well, you know what? Here's a really easy way to break the ice, because we did actually unintentionally skip something that was announced on this show.
Okay.
Between these matches, we found out that we were going to get a unique opportunity battle royal coming up, I think next week. I'm not 100% sure, but we know who is involved. It's going to be Paul London, Saltador from the Rabbit Tribe, Mala Suerte. So all 3 members of the Rabbit Tribe. Argenis Cortez Castro, Son of Madness, Vinny Massaro, The Mac, Joey Ryan, Ricky Mundo, PJ Black, Mascarita Sagrada, and the return of Pimpinela Escarlata.
I will say right now, my 3 picks for that in no particular order. Son of Madness. I'm going to put my chips on Vinny because Vinny's a cool dude, and I love seeing him compete. I want to see more of Vinny. That's always going to be a Lucha Underground request until I get it. And, of course, PJ Black. He seems like the most incredible person in that
I have one pick and one pick only, and it's PJ Black.
And, hey, if it's for a shot at the Lucha Underground Championship, what a way for PJ Black to start his season. And, hell, dude, here's the thing. Those were only announced competitors. You know Ultima Lucha's full of surprises. Angelico could attack PJ and take his place in the Battle Royal.
Or Cuerno. We might get Cuerno. Although I would expect if he's going to show up, I would expect that it would be during the triple threat for the gauntlet, right?
Because he's a stupid, stupid man. A stupid man if he does that shit. But you're right. Yeah, man. Like, and here's the thing. I'm just saying because it's Lucha Underground and I've been conditioned to expect the unexpected, I don't even know if I trust that being like the finalized roster for that Battle Royal. So those are my 3 from the list that were given, but I wouldn't be surprised if we got a surprise or 2 in there as well. But
I will say, though, keep an eye out for the 2 cops, because if one of those guys wins it, I could definitely see it leading to something really interesting storyline-wise.
God, I'd be so happy if Joey Ryan and all of his corruption won that Battle Royal, especially if he eliminated...
Yeah, see, I was thinking more along the lines of Castro, because if Castro wins, maybe his unique opportunity will be a match with Matanza or, like, something that will lead to his seemingly inevitable doom.
Yeah, he's so gonna die.
Do you think that's gonna be like the season finale this time? Because like last year, we got Mr. Cisco, biting the bucket, but this year and then the year before that, obviously Bale, and between seasons 1 and 2, Rick died. So really, the crew was just not meant for this world. So they're all just kind of getting picked off one by one. No crew members have died yet in season 3. It feels inevitable, as much as I don't want to see it, because I do love Castro's work in the temple, but still, I mean, once you've been outed as a cop, you definitely have a limited shelf life, right?
That would be such a fucked up Twilight Zone-esque twist. Like, he wins the Battle Royal, and then they have a cinematic, so Dario, what's my prize? Come with me. And then he leads him all the way to the dark depths where Matanza dwells as he's mentally preparing himself for his cage match. You see, I forgot to mention, it's not a unique opportunity for you. It's a unique opportunity for my brother. What? Fade to black as his flesh gets
truly a different type of cage match.
Oh my god, yeah, he really would be that fucked up, but we'll see, man. I'm definitely, because we didn't get to talk about it in preview predictions because we didn't know its existence in preview predictions. Count that as a match I'm very intrigued for, because anytime that there's a match that's like stacked with undercard guys and there is an opportunity at the end of it that could seemingly elevate them, that always has me colored intrigued. Because again, PJ Black is definitely the most credible guy. Doesn't mean he's going to win though, so we shall see. But now that we've talked about that sufficiently, is there anything else you want to say about that?
Not really, but let's get into the thing we've been wanting to talk about this whole time, the Hell of War match, which to me, I'm going to have a really hard time giving some of those New Japan matches my match of the year over this.
Yeah. You know, I always say every year that I'm going to make a list. I never end up making a list. And, like, I know I've seen some really great matches this year. But here's the thing, and this is what I always have to consider with Lucha Underground matches that I don't really get to consider with other matches, and I mean this as a compliment, is the narrative element. Like, New Japan has had some great matches. Like, right now, my New Japan match of the year, I'm sorry, I adored Suzuki versus Okada in the B block for G1.
Yes, that's mine too, dude. I was literally going to say that. Like, I was going to say, like, yes, Omega Okada has been amazing all 2 or 3 times that they've fought. It's been incredible. They've been great. But to me, the match that I've watched in New Japan this year that I've enjoyed the most while watching it was Okada Suzuki in G1.
Exactly. But here's the thing. As much as I adore that match and adore Suzuki, it didn't have anywhere close to the narrative teeth that this match did.
Plus, like, to be fair, it's also almost not even fair to compare the 2 matches because, like, Okada Suzuki told a really good story in the confines of the match, but that story was confined to the match. Like, there was no real story leading into the match, and there was no story coming out of the match. It was just within the confines of the G1. This match is for Suzuki's G1 life. And it ended up being futile anyway because Suzuki lost his next damn match to Michael freaking Elgin. So even though it was cool in the moment, it ended up not even mattering. But this, it's not exclusively dependent on somebody going after a title for the story to matter. The story matters because it's more than just a championship. It's more than just accolades. It's about something more personal than that.
Yeah. I mean, this to me was so insane. I've said a few times on the podcast, I loved how this storyline was written. I love that Dante, even though he did things that people might have colored as like underhanded or what have you, wasn't a character completely devoid of sympathy. Because when you hear a story, like, I'm like, yeah, I get why Dante turned out the way he did. I've seen people turn out worse than Dante over less. So, like, yeah, guy's allowed to be a bit angry. And of course, Killshot has had...
That reminds me of this. I used to watch a lot of video game playthroughs, and the one guy that I like to watch, his name, and John, you're familiar with him, but to the people that aren't, the guy's name is Good Boulderfist. And he did a playthrough of The Last of Us. And the first episode, he's working through like the pre-game kind of intro, like almost like a prequel almost, prelude, whatever you want to call it. And there is a scene that opens up the game where this guy, you know, his daughter and he and his brother, I think, need to get out of town because there's this crazy like zombie apocalypse going on and everyone's panicking and like the roads are crazy and, you know, there are all kinds of like accidents piled up and fires everywhere and shit, and they're trying to get out. And through all this madness, this dude ends up getting, you know, confronted by like an FBI officer or some kind of like crazy, well, not crazy, but some kind of like big time like health inspection dude who is like holding up a gun, and he's like, listen, I need to check and see if you're infected. And the guy was just like, look, I'm not infected, I'm not bit, you know, I have my daughter here, we need to get out. And the dude that is holding the gun up gets an order over his walkie-talkie, yeah, just make sure to kill everyone that's around. And it's like, well, are you really sure? There's a little girl. And then he's just like, okay, whatever. And then he shoots, and the guy turns away, and the little girl ends up getting shot and killed. And then at that point, Good, who was playing the game, just said, well, at that point, you're just an asshole. And that's exactly how I feel about Dante. Like, when you get abandoned and left for dead, yeah, at that point, you have earned the right to be an asshole.
Yeah, yeah, and like, Jesus Christ, man, this match. Because, look, I don't want to get overly abstract or feel like I'm jerking myself off or anybody off unnecessarily. I just got to be honest about how I feel. I feel like, at the risk of looking too deep into it, I feel like the writing for this was a great commentary on war, and the match itself was a great commentary. Because one thing that I loved, right? You have these two guys with these soldier backgrounds, and every fall was brutal. Gruesome, brutal, whatever word you want to use. And I loved that multiple times we got people's reactions to it. We had people that were looking physically ill. Rick Knox at one point looked like he wanted to puke. That was one of my favorite live reactions from you tonight, because you saw his face and you're like, my guy looks like he's going to upchuck. Melissa Santos.
Well, I mean, yeah, he really did.
And like, why I even bring that up is because, you know, when you look at the history of war, because I even quoted a general during our live reactions, his name was Clausewitz, said that war is hell, because I've read just war theory. You know, what makes a war just? How do we go to war? What's permissible? What isn't permissible? And when we look at it, the human element's always so critical because, you know, when you're stabbing a guy with a musket or you're throwing a grenade in a direction, you see that. And it's a jolt to the conscience, but we're moving to an age where we're getting more dependent on tanks and drones. Warfare is becoming a more impersonal enterprise with the terrifying consequence of it's easier to do. But when you see these two guys do it, it just reminds you like, yeah, it's a sick fucking thing. So when you look at the background and this and that, like, I feel like if this was CCW or whatever, I would be disgusted and bored, right? Because again, it doesn't have the narrative teeth. But when you look at these guys are soldiers. Dante was abandoned. Killshot, one of my favorite lines in all of Lucha Underground. I fight to forget. I fight because I can't. Like, it's so detailed, the furthest thing from caricatures. And this is the reality. Like, this is, I mean, in a wrestling context, sure, but this is the reality of these types of portrayals and these types of stories. It is squeamish, and it is a jolt to the conscience, and goddamn, thank God it's wrestling, and we can have fun with it, because if it was an arena of war, if it was a theater of war, I'd be fucking depressed. I'd say, my God, you know, what are we doing here? But, like, it's so good and so emotionally riveting, and the idea that a match, a wrestling match, could generate these kinds of thoughts from me. What are we doing? What's everybody like? This is insane to me. It's so insanely good. Yeah, I mean, even talking about it like that, it's got to be a match of the year for me. It's got to be. I've never felt this thoughtful watching a wrestling match before in my life. And I'm watching this and I'm like, the emotion and the brutality and everything else. It's just, it's really, and again, it may be looking too far into it, and I can admit that, but I think all around, from beginning to this match being the end, a great and poignant commentary handled with sensitivity and flair, and of course, it's fucking Lucha Underground. I adored this. I mean, let's get into the specifics here. The first fall, first blood. What did you think of it? How did you think they handled that?
I mean, the crazy thing, if you really think about it, is that the first fall probably was the longest fall, and yet it still felt like, even though it was crazy and physical and these guys went really hard at each other, it still felt like they somehow managed to up the ante, maybe not necessarily as much from first to second fall, but that third fall was like, holy shit, like the craziest thing I've ever seen. But still, like this first, like, to me, in order of insanity, it's first, third fall, then first fall, then second fall. And the second fall, really the insanity was exclusively contained in the final sequence of that second fall involving the barbed wire. Like, that right there in and of itself was probably, like, and the crazy thing is, like, there was a goddamn barbed wire powerbomb spot in this match, and I can't even say it was the craziest spot of the match because of the final spot in the match. Like, the progression of intensity in this match was incredible. This first fall, like, this is going to sound so stupid, but we started out with basic things, and that's where the stupid thing is, because these aren't basic things at all, but in the context of this match, they are. basic things like, oh, ladders and chairs and a sheet of glass placed between two chairs set up as a table. And that right there, like that alone should tell you like this is insane, because again, the stuff that I just listed is peanuts compared to what we would later get.
Yeah. You had such a great phrase there. I already forget what it was, and I'm kicking myself for that. But you said like the progression of intensity in this match, like how things progress. I love that you used that, right? Because it's so true. And I feel like it's such a great structure.
I think that's why I had such long-lasting goosebumps, though, because they built to a crescendo and delivered in every way.
Yeah. Because I feel like that is kind of the difficulty, right? When you have a 3 stages of hell type match, of course, this is called Hell of War, is like, how do we strike the balance of not blowing our load too early, but like you said, building that crescendo, but not doing it in a boring way? And man, was this match like in a sweet spot just all throughout. Because I feel like the weapons progress naturally, and that's why I don't think it was stupid at all what you said about basics. Because yeah, a steel chair is pretty.
It might not have been stupid if you know about it, but like if you're just coming in and hearing me say, "Oh yeah, basic things like ladders and chairs and a sheet of glass," you're just like, "Well, what the shit? Like, what kind of stupid are you if you think those are basic?" But then like, you watch the match and you realize like, yeah, that was the most basic shit that we saw in this match, which is freaking stupid and dumb and nuts.
Dude, can I just take a second here? Because I actually do want to talk about him a bit to end our review of the match, which is still a little ways away because I know we're really unpacking this. Dante and some of his athleticism was fucking crazy here. That leg drop he did from the guardrail to Killshot's Ed with the chair sandwich between.
Yes.
Oh my God. I'm like,
I feel like Dante Fox lost years off of his life in this match. Between that and some of the bumps that he took, like, I legitimately feel bad for the dude because of the condition that his body had to be in after he finished this match. But at the same time, like, if that's what he feels like he needs to do in order to sort of express himself and express his version of the art that we call professional wrestling, and he feels like he succeeded at getting that across, and I'll tell you, brother, if you don't, you're not giving yourself enough credit, because in my eyes you did. But still, like, that's his prerogative, and he did an amazing job at it. Like, the way that he went so far out of his way to just put his body through hell, it really kind of throws me back to Mick Foley and the way that he would always take the most unnecessary and stupid bumps, but then after the match, all you can do is feel like you're just in awe. Like, this man is giving his body and his life to the business that he loves, and there's something beautiful about that.
There is like, you know, it's and again, like, the fact that these thoughts are generated from men, I love it because, like, you're right. I look at some performers, and I'm not even talking about like deathmatch performers, but performers that may have some familiarity with the environment or maybe doing it for the first time and just being like, I want to leave it all out there. And I'm like, I think about their bump card and how much of it they used up. I think about the years shaved off and like, well, was it worth it? Did you have a good enough match in your kind of, I don't want to say like bibliography or whatever, but you get what I mean? Like, in your match listing, in your match biography, like, was it enough?
Your matchography.
Your match, I'm using it. That works for me. In your matchography. And if you're Dante Fox, AR Fox on the indies, I say, hell the fuck yes, you can. Like, yeah, he can look at this and say, you know what? It took a hell of a lot, but it was a fucking masterpiece. Because, dude, I'll say, I am so glad you mentioned Mick Foley, because I don't want to jump the gun here, because I know we're still talking about First Blood. But I will say, the way this match ended, which we'll get into more specifics later, that was my Hell in a Cell 98 moment, because I wasn't around when that happened. And I know that that's like the big thing, right, that everybody talks about. For me, the way this match ended, it was akin to that for me. Because
it was breathtaking. It was literally breathtaking. Yeah.
It was, because honestly, the goal of wrestling, the goal of any great professional wrestling promotion, is to have that feud or that match or whatever that takes you out of it, especially in this age when it's so hard to do, when it's dirt sheets and internet culture and all that crap. And when I tell you the ending of that match, I actually had that out-of-body experience where I'm thinking to myself, oh my God, is he dead? Is he dead? Like, I didn't even think like, oh, what a sick bump, or oh wow, he's so great for taking that spot, or oh, did you see that something? No, I'm thinking he's still breathing, right? Like, that's my most immediate thought. And for a match to achieve that in
Dude,
this kind
I
of
had
culture,
the exact same thought, because like I even said out loud in live reactions when the camera panned over to him, I said, you know, if I didn't see him breathing on camera with my own two eyes, I would be questioning whether he was dead or not.
Yeah, exactly. So like, this was my Hell in a Cell 98, Mankind being thrown off the top and then through this. I mean, that was it. Dante just taking that fall. It was and everything that preceded it. I mean, the emotion was palpable. I mean, you have the first fall end, just so we can kind of move it along here, with Killshot being backdropped through a glass pane, which was a very clever way for him to lose the first fall but not have the blood come from the face. I thought that was a very clever use of the stipulation, because it says first blood, not first blood from the head. Then we go to no DQ, and that was fucking nuts. And then it's so great too, right? Because, well, you think for first blood, that doesn't have DQs either, because you have to win, to your point in live reactions, by drawing first blood. So how can you make no DQ feel distinct? How can you set it apart from something like that? I'll tell you how. A fucking barbed wire board. Are you kidding me? And they still had glass shards like on the canvas, which was a great visual.
They never bothered to clean that up, that's for sure.
Yeah, no, it was a goosebump-inducing visual seeing that, because I'm like, oh god, the glass isn't even done for the night. It can't even clock out. And then when you have Killshot get the fucking power bomb in the corner, and then he picks up Dante and he drives him down with that other finisher that he has, which I wish I could remember the name of. But he drives him into the glass.
It's like 3 letters, I think. I'm gonna look it up real quick.
Is it the W? No, it's not the WMD. Because I know that.
No. It's like a something R JML driver. That's what it is.
Yeah. The JML driver. He does the JML driver to Dante on the glass shards, and I love your reaction.
Kicks out at 1.
No, you're thinking that was Killer's Instinct, which preceded all that. That was Killer's Instinct.
That moment for me, like the Killer's Instinct, and Dante kicks out at 1 and just sits up and just stares at Killshot. Like, that moment was like, and the crazy thing is, like, I can't even say that moment was the coolest thing I've ever seen, because then we got like 2 or 3 coolest things I've ever seen later on in the match.
Exactly. And I've come to appreciate those spots contingent on the guy pops up, but he's barely conscious enough or doesn't even have enough energy to fight back. And that's exactly what happened, because then Killshot immediately knees him in the face. He gets the power bomb, into the barbed wire board. He does the JML driver into the glass shards. And then I love your live reaction to it, because you're like, well, yeah, it better be a 3 count, Jesus Christ. Like, after all that, you might as well count to 100. And then we get to the ambulance match.
Ambulance match, yes.
And brother,
and dude, this was like, I feel like I could do like a spot for spot narration on this match in my head. It's that burned into my memory at this point.
Dude, I will say, outside of the final few moments, which I have quite a bit to say about that, the coolest moment of this match, man, and there were many, that fucking drop kick by Killshot.
Yes!
Holy fuck. I even said on live reactions, I used to think that Finn Balor had the best shotgun drop kick in the business, and his is still gorgeous, make no mistake, but Killshot beat him out. Because he's like, oh, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to be sprawled on the stretcher like a boss, knowing that I'm fucking owning this shit. But what were some of your favorite moments from the third fall, man? I want to get more commentary from you here.
Obviously, like, that drop kick was freaking incredible. Like, he literally jumps over the stretcher to deliver the drop kick. He did this, the freaking, what did he do that broke? Oh, the Death Valley driver onto the stretcher that he did was insane. And then, like, you just see, and then that was, I think, after, like, long after the drop kick, because he does the drop kick earlier on in the ambulance match, and then, like, you just see Dante crawling away, moving chairs out of his path so that he can keep crawling in a straight line, like, and Killshot's just following him. He's just pulling the stretcher behind him, following him, and then, like, throwing chairs at him, and, like, it was so good. And then, yeah, like, there was the and the thing that started this whole thing, the match that took it to the outside, was insane too, because we got to remember Killshot suplexed Dante from inside the ring to outside of the ring, and because of, like, the leverage and the way that their arms were hooked in the suplex, Killshot ended up unintentionally going over the top ropes with him. So that was like what started off the ambulance match on the outside, and then you had the drop kick, and then obviously the kind of stalking around the ring, and then like we had the Death Valley driver onto the stretcher, and then he laced up or buckled up Dante on the stretcher and tried to take him over to the ambulance, and Dante wriggled himself out of it. But then before he could fully get himself out of it, Killshot hits him with the goddamn killer's instinct, the swerve stomp onto the stretcher. And then not only did he do that, but the thing is, like, I think Dante might be immune to that move, because that almost like woke him up, because that also got him out of the stretcher, and then like he was up and moving again, like it seems like Dante is just immune to the swerve stomp, to the killer's instinct, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. I mean, it was crazy. These two guys.
Oh yeah, and by the way, the one point we could see on the freaking, and after the Death Valley driver, we could see on the stretcher a literal piece of Dante's back.
Yeah. Oh my God, that visual was sick in more ways than one. It was sick. Then you have these
sick, like ew, sick, but it was also sick, like sick, bro.
Exactly, and you saw people again covering their mouths, averting their eyes, and I'm like, this really has become a theater of war, and it's just amazing seeing this play out. They fight all the way to the top of the steps, where the band's playing. You've got Dante wraps a cord around Killshot's throat. He's strangling him. And not only is he strangling him, right, because like that's enough on its own in pro wrestling. We've seen it before. But Dante, there is a visceral quality to him strangling Killshot, because he's looking him right in the face when he's doing it. Like, you couldn't get any more personal, because he's looking him dead in the eyes. He's screaming at him. He's saying all this stuff. And Killshot, for his own preservation, gets a bottle, cracks Dante in the head with it, shatters that glass, and then Dante, like, all the consciousness leaves him. He, walks off the stage just absentmindedly through more glass.
Dude, he didn't walk off the stage. He just fell off of it. Like,
I feel like a stagger would be a better word. I feel like stagger would be a better word, because he took like one or two steps and then plop. Right through that glass.
And the thing is, too, like, when you say plop, you would expect it to be like, facing away from the ledge with his arms out in the air, and he just falls backwards. But no, like, he did a front flip.
Yeah. Front flip right through more glass, which I didn't even know was set up. And yeah, Dante just lays there with just almost this look of serenity on his face, probably because, he's just unconscious and everything else. And Killshot goes down, doesn't bother to do anything else, picks up Dante Fox and loads him in the ambulance. He shuts the door. He rests his head against the door. It rides out. Killshot wins Hell of War. But even the post-match celebration gives us something special. Like, as if this match wasn't great enough, again, going back to the narrative strength, Killshot isn't hopping up and down. He's not elated that he beat his former brother that early on he wanted to reconcile with. Dante was the one that initially chose the path of vengeance. Killshot just chose to follow him there. So he rests his head on the ambulance, and then when that drives off, what's the first thing he does? He gets back in the ring. He immediately goes in the corner to be with his dog tags. And I think about those lines that he said, again, my favorite lines in all of Lucha Underground. I fight to forget. I fight because I can't. And now he's going to have to fight even harder to forget about what he did to somebody that he once regarded as a brother. Like, I think that is such emotional punctuation, such strong punctuation to this feud. And I'm just like, Jesus Christ, Lucha Underground, this was a fucking masterpiece. This was amazing. And Killshot wins. And I complimented Dante earlier. I mean, the guy bumped his ass off, sold his ass off, as did Killshot. I feel like he had one of the best matches of his career. And Killshot, a.k.a. Shane Strickland, I said on live reactions, like, the indies have been very kind to him. I feel like he's been getting a lot more work. He's been getting a higher profile. And this match is only going to help his case. I think 2018 is going to be very kind to Killshot on Lucha Underground, and definitely Shane Strickland on the indies more broadly. The guy's brilliant. He's incredible. And he really shows that he knows how to be a character when given proper material. And this was fantastic. And again, that ending image of just him with the dog tags, just breathtaking. And both of these guys are just the utmost in quality in their profession. And I love that we got to witness that. But there's one thing that I really want to ask you, brother, that I almost hate to ask you because I hate to think about what the answer might be. You think Dante's going to be back for season 4? What do you think his fate is after going through that
Oh,
kind of a
dude,
matchup?
there's no way that you give a guy like that a match like this and then don't bring him back. There's no
Yeah.
way.
Because I fell in love with Dante hard this season. Like, for me, if Dante didn't come back, Dante would be for me what King Cuerno has been for everybody else. That guy that, like, if he didn't come back, I would just feel like has been missing from the whole picture. I would just constantly think about, like, are we ever going to see him again? Because this was amazing. Such a great performance from both guys. But, dude, I've said a lot. Do you have any other commentary like about the finish? Because I talked more about like the final moments, but if you have your own take, I'd love to hear it. And then just kill shot and everything else. Like anything else you want to say?
Honestly, when the finish was happening, I had this thought of like, you know what? What if kill shot, because like he sees what he's done and he doesn't want to lose his friend, and like he, like wants to go like the honorable way. Like, what if he enters the ambulance and closes the door just long enough for the match to end and Dante wins, but then he goes and gets Dante, puts him in the ambulance, gets in the ambulance with him, and then ambulance drives off to actually the dude some help.
Yeah. It's God, this match.
Now, granted, I don't necessarily want to say that would have been the better option, but I, for some reason, thought that was the direction they were going to end up going. Obviously, that's not the direction they ended up going, but you know that Lucha Underground's good when it gets to the point that it's got me thinking about guys losing matches on purpose to further a narrative.
Yeah. Because I could see where you're coming from. Because again, Killshot, even though like he did defend himself, he didn't push Dante off. That was just a consequence set in motion by the bottle hit. And then Killshot's just almost gentle with him after that, from where he picks him up to how he loads him in the like nothing is aggressive about it. It's very fatigued and again very gentle because it's not just some guy. They served together. They fought alongside each other. They were brothers in that very deep sense. And this rift was just so freaking wide. But yeah, like I even thought Killshot would like take a moment or two to look, and I think he did. And I'm like, well, is he going to climb in with him? Is he going to be like, well, I win this match, but I want to go with him? And like, no, he just loads it in. But you can even tell, though, it wasn't easy for him because he rests his head against the door before it goes off. And then when it does, he immediately goes to his dog tags, which are everything to him. So this is just another scar on the soul of Killshot as far as I'm concerned. Like, it wasn't easy for him to do, but he knew he had to do it because Dante was strangling him again, and you could tell like this match had done nothing to soothe Dante's hatred. So I think
I almost have to wonder if in that moment, Dante realized that even if he were to kill Killshot, it wouldn't fix him. You know what I mean? Like, it wouldn't make him whole again.
I mean, that's always like the commentary that we get, right? In shows or movies that deal with revenge. It's like, oh, well, after you get it, what then? Like, what is life for you then? Are you going to be any more whole? And it's like, well, no, but I certainly feel better about it. But I mean, that I think is what's so great too, because again, like, I don't think Dante sacrificed any sympathy in those moments. I don't mean to say it like that, but I think those final moments make very clear to you, Dante would have killed Killshot if he didn't take the measures that he did. And Killshot, I think that's the burden he has to rest with. Like, I don't think he wanted to take things that far, but it really was like, well, if I didn't, he would have killed me and he would have had no qualms about it. And I just think that's so intense, especially for a wrestling match to produce. And like, God, this just shows you the kind of art that wrestling can be in 2017. And nobody got a fucking excuse. Like I've been talking about, and we've been talking about in the course of this commentary, the nature of war, these men's psychological states, what it means for both guys after the fact. Like, only Lucha Underground, man. I fucking love this shit. And this is only week 1. We've got 3 weeks left of this shit. God damn. Oh, dude. Yeah. Match of the year contender for me. I fucking love this. I love this so much.
Absolutely. All right. Well, I mean, I almost feel bad not just talking about this match and this show for the rest of the night, but I really do feel like we've said our piece.
Yeah, we have. Do you want to move on to our next segment?
I mean, low shot, Tejano, I guess, high spot, everyone else.
Yeah, I was just gonna say high spot this fucking match. Like, I'm in the kind of mood I really don't care about who won or who lost. This match was a high spot. I'm sorry. Like, this is
Yeah.
a masterpiece. I know Jarvera said he couldn't watch it. Brother, make time sometime this week before night 2 of Ultima Lucha Trace to watch it. And watch it when you can really experience it. You know, don't have anything else open. Just really immerse yourself in it. This match was a goddamn experience, bro. Like, go see it. I'm so grateful we were able to. Like, I feel privileged having watched that shit. You ain't getting Johnny Scumbag tonight. Fuck that shit. No, this match was the high spot. I can't even make fun of Kill, especially because Killshot won. I can't make fun of Tejano or anybody. I just want to keep celebrating this match. This match is my high spot. Fuck it. Do you want to join me on that? Can we join in on this?
Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely. That's kind of, kind of related to what I said. So.
Yeah, so there you go. There you go. With that said, yeah, that's it. That was night 1 of Ultima Lucha Trace. Guys, this has been Lucha Underground. This has been TWitWoW, the best wrestling podcast made for wrestling fans, by wrestling fans, on the web today. I'm John. That's my cohort and commentary Ashton. Guys, be sure to comment, subscribe, and like the video. The more likes you leave, the more likely we are to be the top search result for Lucha Underground reviews on YouTube. And when you're the best at what you do, the top is the only place that you belong. So please leave that like. All right, guys, to give a very quick rundown, you know, with Lucha Underground reviews, all of our Lucha Underground content categorized by playlist is in the description box. So any particular need you have as it relates to our content, you can find the solution all right there. You can also find all of our media, between our Twitters and the TWitWoW Facebook, all in the description box. And 2 other pieces of media I want to plug very quickly. One, the Teespring store. We've got the I'm not finished with you t-shirt for Braun Strowman. I know his stock's taking a hit, but that doesn't mean that you have to. You can still bite back at life and tell it that you're not finished with it. So get that t-shirt. Of course, our newest t-shirt, the Evolution, the real face of the Women's Revolution t-shirt. I think aesthetically, it's the best shirt my cohort and commentary here has ever made. So if you're an Emma supporter, if you still want to give Emma a chance, if you don't think she's been given her due just yet, get yourself a t-shirt and support her, because my cohort and commentary did the one thing that WWE Shop wouldn't do, and that's give the real face of the Women's Revolution some goddamn merch. Also want to plug the Patreon, guys. Now with the Patreon, we have big things hopefully coming. I'm pulling it up right now because I want to give a live reading to you guys. We're still sitting at $96 a month. The big goal now is to start doing progress live reactions. We need to get up to 120 to make that happen. So we are $24 shy of that goal. Now you figure the Discord is $3 a month, which means we would need 8 new people to join the Discord if you haven't yet. Now, with the Discord, it's amazing. It's the most intimate TWitWoW experience we are offering to date, because you get to join other diehard TWitWoW fans in a chat room. There are actually multiple tabs. You could talk about wrestling. You could have general talk. There's even a not suitable for work tab made for kinkmeisters like James and whatnot. So all your needs are met in the Discord, right? $3 a month for that kind of experience, and you know how we can be in a live chat. Now imagine that contained in a Discord and let your imagination run wild. The $3 accrues. So if you're a member of the Discord, say for 10 months, $3 rate a month, that comes out to $30. You can cash that in for a live reaction to a 3-hour show. It is a win, 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 because if you help us get to 120, you can look forward again to Progress live reactions every Tuesday. And let's be honest, Progress is far more impressive than anything WWE is putting out at the moment. You know you want it. I know we want it. Let's make this shit happen. So that's the Patreon. As far as content goes, guys, I'm only going to really focus on the immediate future here. We do have an NXT review coming tonight. I know we got a Cruiserweight Classic competitor, Fabian Eichner, making his debut. That should be very interesting. And tomorrow is Q&A. I did start compiling questions, haven't finished that yet. And, we're not closing the window yet on receiving questions, because we always get questions late in the game. So if you haven't submitted questions yet for Q&A, there's still ample time to do so. We're doing Q&A tomorrow. We're going live at 7. I talked about that with Ashton earlier today. He said, given the volume of questions that we're anticipating getting, we're going to be going live at 7 again. So again, take a deep seater, folks. It's Q&A, and you know how long they can go. You know the rules. You can submit them to Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Discord. 4 questions per Q&A. They could be for both of us, or for myself, or for just Ashton, depending on how you want to divvy them up. Get your questions in. You're not going to want to miss this. All right, guys. So again, NXT review coming just a little bit later. Until then, tune in and peace out.